Under the blinding lights of Times Square, where every camera was focused and every breath in the air pulsed with tension, the boxing world braced for a spectacle. But nobody expected this. What was hyped as Ryan Garcia's triumphant comeback turned into a wild detour, one packed with controversy, bruised egos, and a cocky underdog who flipped the entire script. Forget what you thought you knew, because Rolando "Rolly" Romero just crashed the party, snatched the mic, and rewrote the ending in real time. And the fallout? It's nuclear. From the second the bell rang, it was clear this wasn't going to be the carefully choreographed redemption arc fans had been promised. Rolly Romero didn't just show up. He came in with a plan, a chip on his shoulder, and zero respect for the script. In the second round, he landed a monstrous left hook that sent Ryan Garcia sprawling to the canvas. It wasn't a lucky shot. It was a statement. And as Garcia blinked up at the lights, scrambling to gather himself, the crowd realized they were witnessing a moment that might change everything. Rolly had seized momentum, and with it, he began dismantling the illusion of Garcia's invincibility. Garcia, whose return was supposed to signal a new era in boxing, looked like a shadow of the fighter who once lit up arenas with lightning-quick hands and flashy combinations. This wasn't just ring rust. This was something deeper, something unsettled. Whether it was mental, physical, or both, Garcia's rhythm never clicked. His punches missed wide, his balance faltered, and whatever game plan he had, it unraveled with each round as Rolly kept coming, smirking between exchanges like a man who knew he was in control. For fans who expected a showcase, it was jarring. For critics, it was vindication. Even more jaw-dropping was what came to light afterward. Romero had entered the fight with an injury. He reportedly damaged his shoulder during warm-ups but never flinched. No excuses, no drama. He just adapted on the fly and kept punching. That revelation made the final outcome even more impressive. Despite the setback, Rolly executed his strategy with surgical discipline, exploiting every opening Garcia gave him. By the time the final bell rang, the judges had seen enough. A unanimous decision. Scores of 115-112, 115-112, and a lopsided 118-109. Romero didn't just win. He dominated, and he did it in the most chaotic setting imaginable. Outdoors, in the heart of Manhattan, surrounded by LED screens, skyscrapers, and stunned silence from Garcia's fan base. As the dust settled, Garcia stood in front of cameras, not with swagger, but with visible frustration. He didn't duck the truth. He admitted his performance was subpar, even describing his training camp as horrible. It wasn't a clean post-fight speech. It was messy, raw, and real. He hinted at internal problems, issues behind the scenes that may have bled into his performance. Some blamed distractions. Others pointed to his long layoff and the psychological toll of his suspension. But one thing was undeniable. This wasn't the Ryan Garcia who once called out Gervonta Davis with fire in his eyes. This was a man at a crossroads, trying to process a beating that was supposed to be impossible. Meanwhile, Romero's stock skyrocketed. What was supposed to be a setup fight for Garcia had become Rolly's breakout moment. He wasn't just the loudmouth anymore. He was the guy who showed up in Times Square and beat the media darling at his own game. Now, talk has shifted to what's next for Rolly. Bigger fights, bigger names, and a seat at the welterweight table he wasn't supposed to have. Boxing insiders are suddenly re-evaluating matchups, rankings, and everything they thought they knew. Because if Rolly can outsmart, outfight, and outlast a prime Ryan Garcia with one arm half functioning, who's safe? The night itself will go down as one of the sport's strangest and most cinematic events. A boxing ring in the middle of New York's most iconic intersection. Massive digital screens flashing every jab and knockdown, the roar of the crowd echoing between high-rises. It wasn't just a fight, it was an urban war zone wrapped in glitz. And beneath the spectacle, the message was clear. In this sport, hype means nothing if you can't back it up. Legends stumble, favorites fall, And sometimes the guy you laughed off at the press conference walks away with everything. For those who missed the chaos or want to relive it punch by punch, the footage is already spreading like wildfire online, but no clip can fully capture the shockwave that Rolly Romero sent through the fight world. This was more than a win. It was a hijacking of the narrative, a spit in the face to conventional wisdom, and a brutal reminder that in boxing, reputations can collapse in one night. What really set the night apart wasn't just what happened in the ring, but what was simmering just beneath it. Ryan Garcia had spent weeks hyping this fight as a personal resurrection. He spoke like a man reborn, hungry, healed, and laser-focused. But insiders close to the camp had already whispered that something wasn't clicking. There were rumblings of inconsistent training, late-night distractions, and a sense that Garcia's heart wasn't completely in it. And when he stepped into that ring in Times Square under a cloud of pressure and cameras, it showed. Every missed punch, every misstep, it felt like a man fighting not just an opponent, but himself. Rolly didn't have to beat Ryan at his best. He just had to beat the version that showed up, and that was more than enough. And let's not ignore the mental warfare that played out before the first punch was even thrown. Rolly Romero isn't just a fighter. He's a provocateur, a master of chaos. He trolled Garcia relentlessly in the lead-up, mocking his style, questioning his toughness, even calling him mentally fragile. It wasn't just for show. It was strategic. Romero got under Garcia's skin, chipped away at his focus. And when fight night arrived, it was like Ryan had already used up half his energy responding to the noise. Rolly, on the other hand, looked loose, even gleeful, like a man who knew he'd already won half the battle before the gloves touched. The mind games worked, and the scoreboard proved it. The fans didn't take it lightly. As soon as the decision was read, social media exploded with shock, rage, and hot takes flying from every direction. Garcia's loyalists blamed the judges. Others said the fight never should have happened outdoors. But the loudest voices weren't making excuses. They were asking tough questions. Did Ryan rush back too soon? Was he mentally prepared for this level of spotlight? And perhaps most urgently, has the fame outpaced the fighter? Because somewhere along the way, the boxer who once thrilled fans with speed and flash started looking more like a brand than a brawler. Saturday night forced everyone to reckon with that reality. Meanwhile, Rolly Romero stood center ring, smiling like a man who just pulled off the ultimate heist. For a guy often dismissed as a sideshow act, he reminded the world that boxing is still a sport where hunger, grit, and the element of surprise can trump marketability any day of the week. He didn't care about the production value, the millions of followers, or who the crowd came to see. He came to fight. And when the moment called for it, he was colder, sharper, and more ruthless than anyone expected. His rise may have been unorthodox. But after Times Square, nobody's laughing anymore. As the night faded and the ring was disassembled under the glow of neon billboards, one thing became clear. This wasn't just a loss for Garcia. It was a power shift, a reminder that the future of boxing isn't scripted. It's carved out with blood, sweat, and risk. Ryan Garcia still has a career, still has the fans, still has a shot at redemption. But the road just got a lot rougher, and the man who gave him that detour, he just lit the match and walked away with the flame. This wasn't the ending anyone predicted, but it might be the spark boxing desperately needed.